Becky, can you hear us? Wave if you can hear us. Ah, good. Okay, you're on mute, which is, can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Lisa Claire will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting, Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. We are going to start with item number 4. Item number 3, to hear updates from the first selectman. I think we've given a lot of updates recently, and I think I'm going to skip that for today. Item number 4, purchasing authority. To hear, consider, and act on authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into proposed agreement with the Resilient Land and Water LLC of West Hartford to perform flood resilience planning assistance services within the town of Fairfield per the Resilient Land and Water proposal dated April 8th, 2024 for a total proposed contract value not to exceed $25,000 inclusive of tasks 1A, 1B, and 2A. This approval includes the authorization to enter into future negotiations for optional proposed tasks 2B, 3, and 4 as necessary. Funding for this project is available in account 01005030-53200. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. Adam?
Yep, Adam Tulin, Purchasing Director, and I'm glad to see Becky is in the meeting as well, Ms. Bunnell. Yeah, from a purchasing perspective, the purchasing policy is satisfied as this is a professional service agreement that is exempt from procurement due to its dollar value. So we're satisfied from that regard. In terms of scope, I know that engineering and the FECB spent a significant amount of time working with the proposed consultant here to develop that scope of work. So we're just looking for your approval to enter into that agreement.
Thank you. And Becky, can you give an overview of how we got here and who the consultant is?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is really step 1, if you will, of really getting a master flood control, erosion, and resilience plan for the town of Fairfield. This is something we sorely need as a town. The science in sea level, the number of rain events, all of the things that we are seeing right now with climate impacts are such that we really need to, as a town, look back and look at what is it we want to do for our town, for our residents, and for our key infrastructure. So what this is a gentleman named David Murphy, who has done a lot of work with the town. He's worked on our PSCD. He's worked on several different projects around town. He knows our town well. He knows our riverine areas as well as our coastal areas. And so we wanted to bring him in to pretty much help us shape not just the RFP to make sure we're capturing everything we need to in the RFP, but also to take a look at the contracts as they come in from the various engineering firm vendors to make sure that we're getting the best value for our money. So that's what we're asking for with this professional services contract. Bill and I have discussed that we've added in the things that we feel are necessary for the town to have a diligent plan proposed. And as I said, this is step 1. Any questions or answer?
I just would personally want to say I think this is a great direction for us to go in because the flood erosion master plan is incredibly important, and I think having this person in this role I think will help guide us so that we don't miss anything in our review of or development of the RFP and review of consultants. This person will not be bidding, for the plan, so he's going to be an objective, independent person involved in this, and I think he has the respect, having talked to people in engineering like Mr. Hurley and Flood and Erosion Control Board members, that he's respected all around. And I think that's what we need, is someone to help guide us through this process and provide objective advice. Any comments, Christine?
I have a question about the contract. There was I think a 10-day window to review invoices. Is that a normal amount of time? And if you miss that window, then it sounds like you're somewhat out of luck in terms of questioning anything that might have been erroneously billed. And if you don't have the answer, I mean, that could be a follow-up.
Yeah, I'll follow up.
Yeah, just a quick, and I just noticed with another, like one of the other contracts reviewing is 60 days, this was 10. Just want to know what the process will be in terms of who will be reviewing the invoices, whether or not it will be Ms. Fennell, if it will be someone, town staff.
I believe it'll go through engineering. But I agree with you, the 10-day sounds, I'll have to look at it. The 10-day sounds short though, so we'll see if we can extend that.
Yeah, and just to make sure that whoever will be reviewing it is just aware of that time. It just seemed like it was, a short window.
Yeah, hi, Bill Hurley, Engineering Department. Ironically, I was just on a call with David Murphy and MetroCog regarding our flood mitigation plan for the whole region. We can follow up on that, but the typical standard is a 30-day for payment of any invoices. That's pretty much the standard that the town uses, and most engineers and consultants. So we'll double check that. I have to admit, I don't recall seeing that there.
And I don't think it was payment. I think it was just if something was erroneously billed, to question any billing. But definitely double check that. And Bill, while you're up there, can you just, in terms of for FEMA, right now we're a class 8. Is that correct?
Okay.
Yes.
And can you explain some of the benefits that might come to residents if we move to a class 7 or 6, if you know?
I believe each step results in like a 5% decrease in your flood insurance. So with the status that we're at now it's class 8. It would be, I think we get 10% off our the bills for the flood insurance. So the next step would mean 15%. But it does. Each step gets harder though, and it involves a lot more work. But that's where we'll look in with this consultant to see if that's something that is doable or something that just is going to end up costing the town significant time, money, and we'd have to hire 3 additional staff members to do it. Then it might not be worth it, if you know what I mean. But that's where we have an independent, person that is, as mentioned before, well respected in the community, from Flood and Erosion and the Resiliency Board, and from engineering and zoning. So that's one of the reasons why this consultant selected.
I think it's great that we're bringing on additional help to move this process forward. The benefits to this community are, there could be a financial impact. Of course, we just want to be sustainable, protect our assets that are by the shoreline and by our rivers. And I appreciate Ms. Fennell's work on this, and look forward to supporting it today.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? I see Mr. Mahusky, but anyone want to make any comments on this?
This is Dick Mahusky. I was just here in case Ms. Bunnell got waylaid and wasn't able to speak in favor of it. Obviously, I'm in favor of this too, so thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Yeah, I'm really excited about this and getting started with this. Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item passes. Thank you, Adam, Bill, and Bill. Item number 5, to hear, consider, and act on authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into the proposed master agreement with Universal Building Services, LLC of Fairfield, Connecticut, to provide labor, materials, equipment, and all else necessary to perform on-call services and repairs for HVAC systems in municipal buildings within the town of Fairfield, per town bid 2024-64 and the Universal Building Services bid submission dated April 4th, 2024. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Adam, hey.
Great, yep, Adam Tulin, Purchasing Director. Yeah, we went out to bid. We received 2 responses, UBS and Tucker Mechanical. After a review, it was determined that we should award to UBS. Their rates were lower, and we have a lengthy positive history with them. I spoke with James Ryan before the meeting and just wanted to note that this contract, the expectation is that we will not have to use this. This is just for, an emergency situation, or there's ever, a weird one-off where he or his team doesn't have the capacity to take on something unique or something. So this is similar to the electrical services bid we did last week, where the idea here is to get published labor rates and material markup percentages on the books, to make it a little more efficient when we need to utilize this, when we need this type of work done. So it's a basic contract. I'm remembering now, Ms. Vitale, the question you asked last week about electrical, and I didn't think to prepare for that. I just thought of it as you were reading it. My guess is that the Board of Ed can use this if they need to, but I'm not sure if they will.
Well, in this one, the buildings are listed in the contract, so schools were not listed, but I imagine that if there really was an emergency, that they could reach out to you in terms of getting approval to use this service.
And that's the great thing about having the rates, everything.
It just speeds the process. No further questions for me on this.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item passes. Item number 6, I see John Bodie's on. You may want to be prepared to talk, John. Item number 6, purchasing authority to hear, consider, and act on authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into the proposed agreement with Alpha Laval of Pittsburgh, PA, to provide labor, materials, equipment, and all else necessary to perform WPCF primary digester heat exchanger replacement per town bid waiver and Alpha Laval proposed dated April 1st, 2024, for a total contract amount of $59,500. Funding for this project is available in account 1301310-54310 WPCF maintenance/repair equipment. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. Adam?
Great. Yes, I don't know if John Bodie will have anything to add, but just quickly from the procurement end, we have approved a bid waiver at this point, declaring this a sole source. We often find this with WPCF related items, not unique to Fairfield. And, it has to do with the system that they have installed, and you really, when repairs are needed or parts need to be changed out, you don't really have any alternatives. So the bid waiver has been approved. That essentially satisfies the purchasing policy. So now we're just looking to get the okay from you all to move forward with the work. So I don't know if Mr. Bodie has anything else to add about what will be done.
John, anything to add?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is connected to the primary digester. It is what heats the sludge. It's what keeps the digester doing what it's supposed to do. If this piece of equipment fails, we are no longer able to heat. We are no longer able to digest. And I don't want to bring us back to 2 years ago, but that's what exactly would happen. So Alpha Laval is the original manufacturer of this piece of equipment. They will make a unit exactly the same as what's there. It's literally unbolting the one disconnecting the piping to the one that's there, putting this in, rehooking it up, and turning it back on. A day's work, which is what we need. We can't be without heating it for any number of days, and it's probably going to take 6 months for them to make it. So time is of the essence.
John, do they need to get inside the digester? Is this from outside?
It's external. It's in the basement. It's a standalone piece of equipment that's connected via piping. So the primary digester doesn't have to be opened up. Nothing. Just shut the water, shut the sludge, drain it, take it out, put the new one in, connect it, and off we go.
That's good to hear. Ms. Vitale?
I don't recall, was there discussion of replacing this back when we had the issue with the digester a couple of years ago?
It was not. It's a very simple piece of equipment. The problem is
Parts.
the structure itself is pretty sound. It's where they weld on it, and that's where it tends to go. We have had a pinhole leak. We were able to patch it, and that kind of, you know, put a rush on getting a new one in there.
Okay. All right.
Do we keep this as a backup then?
We would probably get the old one refurbished and have it on standby.
Okay.
How much does it cost to refurbish?
That I don't know. They would have to take it, open it up, and then see exactly what needed to be repaired.
Okay.
But the replacement, it sounds like that it's because this one is aged and in danger of not working at some point in the future, in the near future, and we can't have that risk. Right?
Exactly. It like I said, it had one small pinhole leak that we thankfully were able to patch, but that's just a sign to say it's time and let's get going.
And what is the life expectancy of this piece of equipment usually?
That I don't know. I know it's all predicated on how many. If you have heat cycles, if it's up to temperature and then it goes offline for a while, then heat it up, then off. So it's only been off once for an extended period of time, and that's probably what expedited the need to replace.
And this was included in the Woodard and Curran report.
Yes, I copied the page out of the equipment audit to show that you know, it's a standalone. It's not. There's no redundancy. If it fails, then the primary digester does not work the way intended.
I have no further questions. I think that we should not wait until something totally is offline and breaks before we replace it. We've learned that lesson for roofs and other equipment that you know, are vital to working properly. So I will be supporting this.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? I'm not actually seeing anyone from the public on, but hearing none, back to the board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John. Item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, purchasing authority. To hear, consider, and act on an agreement between various Town of Fairfield departments and Constant Contact, Inc. for digital and email marketing platform annual subscriptions. This approval includes the authorization to enter into renewals on similar terms and conditions. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, Adam?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on this because this is pretty small dollar, but as we mentioned in previous meetings, because it's an annual subscription situation, and then I did notice that we actually have Parks and Rec utilize this, and then also the First Selectman's office will be utilizing this. So I thought it would be beneficial to write this resolution in such a way that if other departments end up needing it, I don't know what the need would be, but I thought it could be beneficial for it all to be on the same terms.
That makes a lot of sense, and would you like to speak about, so the communications director, Lisa Claire, will say a few words about why we're switching from MailChimp to Constant Contact.
Yes, so MailChimp and Constant Contact are very similar in terms of allowing us email capabilities. However, Constant Contact gives us a more flexible template and an easier way to link out than MailChimp does. There are some inherent differences between the two. We feel like we could do a more effective job with town emails by using Constant Contact instead. They are extremely similar in price. I think Constant Contact is a little less, and we will be dropping MailChimp in order to use Constant Contact. Any questions?
I have no questions. Any questions, Christine?
No.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Questions? Hearing none, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Lisa. Item number 8, to hear, consider, and act on an agreement between the town of Fairfield and Hinding Tennis LLC to provide labor, materials, equipment, and all else necessary to perform the construction of 2 new pickleball courts at Tunx's Hill Park per town of Fairfield bid number 2024-65. Hinding Tennis bid submission dated April 4th, 2024, for a total contract amount of $312,550, inclusive of the base bid and add alternatives number 1 and number 2, with additional authority to enter into change orders in an amount not to exceed 10% of the original contract value. Funding for this project is available in account number 228-09010-57000-024T9 Tunx's Hill Pickleball Courts. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. Adam?
Great, yes, it's actually Hinding.
Hinding.
So yeah,
Sorry.
we went out to bid here. We received four submissions. After review, Hinding, who's a well-established, they do a lot of tennis courts around the state. Without Anthony here, I can't speak specifically to how much work they've done in Fairfield, but I'm knowing them, I'm sure they have done other projects in town before. They were by far the low bid. After scope review, determined everyone's on the same page. There's a mutual understanding of the scope of work, and the award recommendation was made. Here to approve this contract.
Thank you. Any questions, Selectwoman Vitale?
Really just, why there was such a big difference in the pricing with the other 2 vendors who, responded to the RFP. Do you have any detail into what was driving the big cost differential?
I was not personally present at the scope review, so I can't say for sure if anything was discovered or uncovered at the meeting. What I can say is I have a lot of experience with both Hinding and the second low bidder. I'm trying to blank on the name right now.
Classic Turf?
Classic Turf. They both do a lot of these types of jobs around the state. My guess is just that Hinding was being aggressive, really wanted to make sure they got the project. That's my instinct on this. As I said, they fully understood the scope of work. There was nothing that they felt, nothing that the team felt was missed. So I really think just it was an aggressive bid.
Okay.
Any other questions, Selectwoman Vitale?
No.
Okay. Let's go out to the public. Any public comment? Hearing none, back to the board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Item number 9, to hear, consider, again, purchasing authority, to hear, consider, and act on an agreement between the town of Fairfield and Eagle Fence and Guardrail, a division of EF&G Construction, Inc., to provide labor, materials, equipment, and all else necessary to perform the installation of automated barrier arm gates at 880 South Benson Road per Eagle Fence and Guardrail. Proposal dated April 8th, 2024, for a total contract amount of $24,600. Funding for this project is available in account 1450-10-59996-81019, ARPA, Guardrail, and Fencing. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. There we go, Adam.
Yep, so this, from my perspective, this is an interesting one that kind of falls into a unique area here where the purchasing policy is satisfied because it was below the bid threshold, but because it's over the charter-bound $10,000 contract limit, we're here to get approval for the contract. It's pretty straightforward. We're not even proposing a formal contract document for this. We're just contract by purchase order is what we're proposing here. A purchase order can be a basic form of contract. So it's a simple project that Anthony needed done to better protect the Jennings Beach entry and exit. And one other thing. The ARPA funding, we'll just, from my office, there's just some additional work we have to do to make sure that the vendor is properly registered with the sam.gov federal website for vendors that get the special ARPA funding.
So I'm not sure if it's true because I haven't driven down to the beach, but I was told they already started work. Is that true?
It is true, and I believe there was just a misunderstanding between my office and Parks and Rec and a timeline that they wanted to get it done.
Right.
So, but yeah, it has to do with that sort of that gap between where the value of the contract was, not realizing that it needed to go first to the police.
Right. Okay. The reason for this as a priority, we met several months ago with a group of residents that live in the South Benson area. They relayed to us and showed us evidence of significant issues arising from the parking lot there at night, people congregating there, drinking or whatever, getting in their cars and then racing up and down South Benson Road. A number of accidents, some pretty serious, and one near miss that almost took out a family in their front yard. So this is phase one of trying to, calm down that area a little bit, and it was very high priority, and I think we're hopeful that this will have a positive effect. And Parks and Rec actually voted on the hours for the gate. So, Christine, any comments?
No, just have heard from residents in that area concerns about the activity at the beach at night. This is a health and safety issue, and hopefully that this gate will be a deterrent to people racing around that parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm happy to support this, happy that the work's already moving forward, and I think that we all want our beaches to be safe and not be areas where the health and safety of the neighborhood is at risk. So I just I'm happy to see. Thank you for moving this forward.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's exciting. So item number 10, town librarian. This is a long one. Motion to waive the reading.
Make a motion to waive the reading.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're going to waive the reading, Scott, so you can just go through.
Okay, it's going to be quick.
Okay.
Okay. The first is McNaughton, it's division of Brodart. This is a subscription agreement. This is a book leasing program, and it is sole source. So it's at $34,689, and it comes out of 56180 library material. So these are the books that we actually, physical books that we rent that are high demand, that we have them until they stop being used, and then they get returned. The second is Canva. The product is Canva. It's used for creating promotional material. This is an annual renewal for $300. Budget line 53200-40200. Newsbank. The product is Newsbank. It's a database for newspaper articles nationwide, including local papers and obituaries. This is an annual renew for $11,500. Comes out of library materials 56180. There's the Motion Picture Licensing Corporation. This is an umbrella license. This gives the library the right to show films at both locations. The cost is $490.26, and this comes out of budget line professional services 43000-40300. Then there's Press Reader. The product is Press Reader. It's a digital collection of newspapers from around the world. The estimated cost is about $10,000. This is per usage. The budget line, and that's sole source. The budget line is 56180, which is library materials. Then we have Scholastic. The product is BookFlix. This is a children's reading database. The cost is $3,173. Budget line is 56180, library materials. Then we have Zoom, our Zoom video communication, or the product is Zoom. This is a meeting and webinar software that we use for public programs and internal meetings within library departments. The cost is $1,289.90. The budget line is 53200-40200, or professional services. Then is our contract with tutor.com, the product being tutor.com. This is an on-demand online tutoring for over 100 subjects, K through college, continuing ed, and career development and test prep. The cost is $9,600. This is sole source. The budget line is library materials 56180. And then we have 3 products from ProQuest. The first is Ancestry. This is a database used for genealogy research. That's $2,800, and it comes out of 56180 library materials. Then Library Thing, which is a social cataloging web application for storing and sharing book catalogs and various types of book metadata. That cost is $1,100. That comes out of 53200-40200, or professional services, or one of those professional services line. And then there's Heritage Quest, which is an additional database for genealogy research. That's $1,500. That also comes out of library material 56180.
Fantastic, thank you. So 9 more agreements that can be renewed on similar terms and conditions. I wonder how many you have left to go.
We'll find out.
Selectwoman Vitale, any questions?
No, just again, really exciting to hear all the services that we provide our residents at the library.
I am going to admit I didn't read the tutor.com one, but these are written materials for tutoring?
No, this is
access to individual.
You can sign in and get a tutor and get assistance through
for free.
For free through the library.
Does everyone know about? Does it get a lot of?
It's well used.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
We don't renew unless we know it's going to be used. So usually we'll do pilot for a year, see if it's used, and if it's used, then we'll continue those services. Sometimes we don't want to over promote because we don't want to have to pay more, but it's definitely a used service.
All right. Yeah, that sounds pretty neat. Any other questions, Christine? Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you.
Item number 11, to consider and act upon tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector in the amount of $1,278.32. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. Any questions? None from me. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And number 12, we're going to go into executive session. So I'd like to make a motion to invite the town attorney to go into executive session with Attorney Rick Aiken, Town Attorney Philip Pierce, to discuss pending claims and litigation, Lewis Marines versus Town of Fairfield, and Stephen Fennell versus Town of Fairfield, possible action to approve settlements after executive session. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Recording in progress.
Aye.
Okay, let's go into executive session.
Recording stop.